conversation to a whole new level. Whether it's for your entertainment or your personal growth, we appreciate you being here today. And now, on to the show. What's going on, man? What's going on?
What's up, Shep?
Hey, making it. They're gonna have to bear with me today because my voice is a little off. Yeah, well, they don't know. They don't know that we haven't been here in a while, and I've been gone, and I don't know what it is, man. Traveling, I wouldn't
I'm
say
smiling
sick.
here because I'm waiting for the ball to drop. like I'm sitting here and I'm like, Aaron, why are you smiling? And I realized that I feel like I'm about to hear something that I hadn't heard, and the ball is about to drop. So I'm like
man.
on the edge in anticipation of what I'm about to hear.
There's no ball dropping, but
Oh, okay.
I would imagine.
All right.
I would imagine this is what a woman feels like, and she swallows a load, like she just got
There's
you know,
the
so-
drop. There's the drop.
something stuck. But it's just interesting because for everybody that doesn't know, I've been out in the Ozarks in Missouri. You gotta say
That's how you say it?
Missouri.
Okay.
Haven't been staying in the best hotel.
Okay.
A lot of different pollens, a lot of different whatevers up there, and it just seems like everybody has perpetual allergies.
Okay.
But I will say it's interesting because the moment I got back here, automatically start feeling better.
Wow. Okay.
Just like automatically. I don't know what it is. I got up there for a few days. It took me down for maybe about 3 days,
Yeah.
and it's been better.
So got back home and everything cleared up. Okay.
Everything's cleared up.
Well, I know, man. They say that local honey helps. So I don't know if that's something. You tried that?
Up there?
Yeah, up there.
No, because I'd have to. Can I get some honey? Please hold the spit. Please don't spit in my food. Yeah. I don't know. What are we getting into today?
Oh man, we're talking today. I mean, it stems from the conversation that you just started,
Stems from it.
but it's the consequences of being not good, but I think great, man. I think it's the consequences of being great, man.
Doesn't do anything but get shit on.
Yeah, I mean, it's at some point, man, it's a double-edged sword, right? It is a double-edged sword.
It is. You would think that over the course of time, as you improve your skills, you get better, you expect things to become easier, and they don't. You just become a person that gets looked to for more.
Yeah, you're the fixer.
Yeah. Oh, well, I know who can get it done. I know
Yeah.
who can go do this. I know who would be perfect for this. And I think about, even in my line of business right now, I think about my employees, anybody that's under me in their roles. The good ones get taken advantage of so much because I know they can do this much more,
Yeah.
and they don't want to let you down and say I can't or I won't,
Okay.
or so they burn themselves out to accomplish it,
To make sure it gets done.
and then it gets done, and then people see it gets done, like, okay, all right, well, now they did this, well, let's give them, it's never let's look at the people that are not carrying their weight,
Yeah.
right? Let's look at the people that are not doing what they should be doing. Let's look at the people that are not holding up the expectations that we set and adjusting that. Or if they do, it's okay, well, these people aren't holding expectations. Let's do everything we can to get rid of them. And while we're getting rid of them, we're still going to look to
This other person to take care of the.
persons
Yeah.
to take the whole load. And I don't know how to change that, and I don't know how to stop that from happening, whether it be to myself, to employees, to whatever it is. It's very difficult, and I don't even think that, now that I think about it, going into a personal like self-employment situation, that doesn't make it any better, right? Because now if you have the drive to succeed, you're going to put even more stress on yourself to accomplish more.
Yeah.
You know, does it ever stop? I mean,
It doesn't.
Does it ever
It
get
shifts, I think. In that instance where you're talking about going from kind of this 9 to 5 W-2 to a contract worker, where you're running your own business, the pressure does shift. The pressure does change. People glamorize being an entrepreneur, but it's not for the faint of heart by any stretch of the imagination, right? Because you don't have a 2-week check that's going to drop unless you get out there and make a 2-week check, right? And so all of those things, man, the pressures of it that come with it are 10 times more. But I mean, one of the things, man, that I was kind of I thought about is when I was interviewing for the manager job back at the Blue Box, right? The top manager position.
Yeah.
And my previous manager was having some serious problems at that point. Like she was on her way out, right?
Yeah.
Not intentionally. It was just life was happening and she wasn't able to handle the stress of it, and it was coming to work.
Right.
Okay. And so she was being held accountable at work for the things that were happening, the things that were falling apart, right? And we had this big meeting, and she didn't show up for that. So that was almost the last straw, right?
That was it.
We go through that and we come back, and now I'm being interviewed by the HR manager and the store manager at that time. And they're asking the HR manager, she was very strong-willed, if for no other reason, right? And her thing was, well, when you saw things going awry, why didn't you step up? Why didn't you step in and take over? I said, well, one of the things that normally I was that guy, right? But in that moment, I was like, you didn't give me the authority to step in and take over. I said, you guys have made a choice by keeping her in place. So I was supporting your choice at that moment. So for me to come in and begin to run amok creates additional confusion that then I don't even have the authority to carry out. And had I done it and it failed, you would be holding that against me at this point.
Oh yeah, you'd have been in trouble.
In trouble. I would have never gotten the position, because at that point I would have jumped out there, failed miserably, and then be held accountable to what I had done at that point. Well, that lesson is one that I still need to remember now.
Yeah.
Right? What I said in that moment is something I need to remember now, because I think some of the reason why we become those people is because we don't stand up for ourselves and say, well, no, that's not my responsibility.
Yeah. It's funny that you say that, because I hear that a lot, and I've heard that a lot as well. If you knew it was going bad, why didn't you do something?
Why didn't you do something?
Why didn't you do something?
Right.
And the expectation is the subordinate is supposed to take on the leader role.
Yep.
Especially, if you want to be a leader, I need to see how you're going to manage the situation. But it's a different scenario, because a subordinate leading equals
They're peers.
leads peers is yes, it can be done. Yes, you can look for certain standout leadership qualities, but when it comes to accountability, they know you can't do anything about it. So they're just going to be like, well, it is what it is.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
fuck you, I'm going to go back to doing nothing.
Right.
And that does make it difficult, because then, they look at you, well, you didn't get it done. Well, you didn't give me the authority to.
Right.
Yeah. That makes it hard. But then they lean on you when they want to get a large amount of work done. It's a shitty situation. It's a shitty situation.
Yeah. Bro, the thing was so crazy. Now that I run this thing back in my mind, now that I run those years back in my mind, and I look at the stuff we said yes to, which was complete and total ignorance, right?
Yeah.
And I look at it, I mean, I said yes to running a multi-million-dollar remodel without any experience. As a middle manager, I wasn't even the department manager. We ran that first stupid remodel with no, like, we literally tore up the entire store, dude.
Yeah.
Front to back, tore it up, and we're coming up with it on the fly. Right, we are putting together schedules. We are saying yes. We are going out and getting materials. We're sourcing materials. We are running our entire teams in the dirt and having a Monday morning meeting. And they asking us why we're behind. Well, hell, we don't even have the experience to do this. But I'm going on my architectural degree, redrawing a freaking $1 million store on AutoCAD with my limited. And then we're taking that and we're running out and we're going to get that done. I was like, man, come on. To think about that now, that was so ignorant. And we said yes to it. We said yes to it.
We said yes to a lot of things that probably shouldn't have been said yes to. And that, yeah.
Check this, though. When I said no, that's when things changed.
Oh, of course.
When I said no, then the dynamic of the relationship began to change, and they'll begin to shift kind of it was the means to an end. It started, I remember those triggers when I started saying no to those things that I knew we couldn't happen because of my previous experience. I did learn. So from the previous experience, I'm like, no, that doesn't make sense. We don't have the resources to do it. We kind of have the capability to do it. Let's not do it that way. That was the means to an end. That's what started the whole kind of shift and change.
Nobody wants to hear no.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to hear no. It's especially there. It's especially there. And it's unfortunate because there was just so, God, when I think about it, there's just so much money that was.
So much.
Oh, we lost. I mean, even in my time there's so many things that, they just expected you. They come to you because they say, oh, well, I know that this person can do it. This person can do it.
Yeah.
You're going to make it. Like I think about when we were putting in them ATS machines in the cash office.
Yep.
And everything on things are $100,000 a piece. And like, oh yeah, here, you come in, you just set it up. Like, okay. I'll be here on the overnight, and when I blow out I remember, speaking of HR manager that became dumbass store manager. I remember they came to me, and I wasn't the manager.
Okay.
I wasn't the manager at all.
Yeah.
And they said, hey, we want to take out all these self-search checkouts. And I told them, don't do it. I said, don't do it. You're going to regret it. You're going to regret it. You came to me. You asked me. I told you don't do it. It's not going to work. It's not going to work with our customer flow. It's not going to work with the service you're trying to provide. And when all that shit hit the fan, and they said, why didn't you stop them from doing it? We had lines all the way to the back.
What was it? Code 99?
Yeah. We had lines all the way
every
back
day
to the back of the
Code 99. Managers did it.
Lines to the back of the warehouse. Well, why didn't you? And I remember I got pulled into the office, and we had that whole conversation about why. I said, I told you not to take them out. You don't listen. You came to me for help. I offered you the truth, and you didn't want it.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh man.
You're gonna do what you wanted to do anyway.
Exactly.
And I think that's the thing is, man, that I'm coming to the realization that in this moment, it doesn't matter how much you work and how much you go to accomplish. People are still gonna do what they ultimately want to do anyway. Whether you give all you have or not, people are still going to make a decision that's best for them. And one of the issues that I see with every team has these dynamics and individuals, right? And it's the individual that comes to the table that knows that the people know that they can do everything, and they drop it on them. They go home to the kids, and this person is left with the stress and the worry and the anxiety of trying to get the job done. But part of that is because they said yes to it, or part of it is because our maybe need to be needed. Like, and some of it, we got to own a little bit of the responsibility.
Oh, yeah. No, for sure.
90% of the responsibility of being that way, right? Because some people say no and won't do it and will refuse to do it.
And then they're still where they are. And
nothing will happen.
Yeah. But see, I was thinking, though, I was listening to, I think, was it Eric? I was listening to Eric. I don't know. But that's part of it, though, too, right? Is that there's people out there that are telling people, say yes to it, even if you don't know how you're going to get it done. Just say yes, and then figure out a way to get it done. Mm-hmm. Like, that's one of the keys to success.
Yeah, right.
You know, it's just like, I'm just going to say
yes.
Yeah, we can do it. We can
of
do
course
it that time
we can.
frame. Oh, hell yes, we can, and figure out a way how to do it. And that's a hard mentality. That's a hard mentality to go by, because now you're going off of luck. You know,
right.
hopefully it works out or gets close to working out, and then everything is good. Otherwise, you're fucked. And I don't know if that's necessarily the right way to live either. You know, and you said something that kind of stood out. You know, and you're talking about the people that are just dumping these things on people, and it makes me wonder, like, what is at what point, when I look at the corporate scale or these bigger chains or these bigger things, at what point does your job become irrelevant? At what point, like, as you work your way up, are you really
doing anything?
Are you really needed? You know, I'm needed. Are you though?
Right.
you know, are you really? And that's what I kind of wonder, because I think about all the people that were just dumping. Like, how much of this shit that you dumped was really your job?
Yeah.
Right. That you made my job.
Yeah. Right.
You know, that you made my job. And, you know, I think about a lot of times, like, at that job, it happened there. And at the job I'm at now, it happened. The job I was at before the job I'm at now, same situation. And it always would come up that, oh, we're going to assess the manager role or the supervisor role to see what we can take off of your plates, because you have so much is going on. And it never happens.
Yeah.
Like, you have all,
right.
Like, are you guys just, you have some extra money.
That's the carrot, man.
You have some extra money.
Yeah.
We're going to create a committee, pay these guys extra money to figure out how we can streamline your job. Because I remember, like, right now, they're talking about doing it right now in my current job. Supervisors, managers, whatever, supervisors, you got so much on your plate. We're going to figure out what we can do less of, you know, so you can be more efficient and focus on the goal. I haven't heard it starting yet, and then everybody always gives the same excuse. Oh, well, you know, it's a big business, so it takes time. Like, no, it doesn't, motherfucker. Like, if you wanted to make a change, you could just send it out, make a change. Because when you guys want to implement something, oh, you guys need to do this by tomorrow.
You implement it.
Oh, that shit comes out, real fast,
right.
Quick, fast, and in a hurry, and everybody's got to show up extra early in the morning to make sure everybody knows this is what we're doing.
Right.
At my last job, I spent the better part of probably 2-3 months on a committee. Mm-hmm. What do you do? How much time does it take? You know, to do this. Okay, well, this is how many hours you have in a week. And nothing ever fucking happened.
Got it.
Like, nothing. And I feel like there's just more people that can't justify their own job making shit up, you know, just so they can drop more on it. I don't know, man. I guess it's nice to be the boss, but at the same time, like, what value? You're taking home 15 times my salary.
Right.
What are you really providing?
Well, I think what they're providing is the ability to hire well. Because if they hire you, hire me, hire another one like us, then what work do they have to do?
I mean, none.
Because at that point, you have a desire to be better, right? You're not going to just come and sit on the job. That's not who you are, right? And so it's actually, I think the ability of bosses to be able to look and identify that, you know, like when you are looking for your next hire, identifying that person is going to relieve you of so much stress, because then they're going to want more. They're going to want to please. They're going to want to assure that things are in place. And in doing so, you can continue to feed them, and they're going to continue to work through that thing.
I mean,
it's just a double-edged sword.
I want to believe that. I want to believe that. But then I think about the blue box and who put all them.
I mean, I get that. Some of that was just, you know.
I'm like, nah,
Yeah.
they clearly can't.
I'm not saying everybody has the ability to see correctly, right? Some of it may be cloudy.
Oh, yeah.
Some vision may be cloudy, but
Yeah. I don't know, man. I just, it's just unfortunate. It's unfortunate that people get taken advantage of when.
But what is the responsibility of that person? I guess that's what I'm coming back to, right? If none of this other stuff changes, what is it the responsibility of the person who is always seen as that go-to, always seen as the one who can get it done? What does that person have? What responsibility do they have to assure that they take care of their sanity, their peace, their how much they can really honestly handle?
But then that, I guess that falls, for me, that falls into a category that has actually nothing really to do with that situation.
I agree.
You know, and a lot of that lies into where that person is in their life, their level of freedom that they have, their level of flexibility that they have, you know, because hell, I mean, my work ethic is going to be my work ethic, but my ability to say no is going to change depending upon how much money I have in how much money is in the bank account, right? If I got $10 million in my bank account, and you're gonna tell me to do something that's tell me to do something that's ridiculous, I'm gonna tell you go fuck yourself. Right? But if I'm living paycheck to payday, advance to paycheck, and I'm a hard worker, and you tell me to do something, I'm like, well, yeah, because I need to continue to make the money, I need to continue to make the bills.
Right.
And it changes things dramatically. You know, you're gonna take on a lot more when you're at fear.
Yep.
I think a lot of people are in fear of loss. There's a lot of people out there, that workforce, those good workers, they're not to a point where they can say no.
Yeah.
You know, it's different if you have a relationship, you know, with your managers or whatever, and you can kind of have a little more conversation. But a general worker, a general supervisor, a base level manager, whatever it is, a lot of times they're trying to figure out how they're going to pay their next bill.
Yeah.
And they're so scared to lose this job. I can't lose this job because of this. I can't lose this job because I have to pay this. I can't lose this job because of my kid or whatever it is. Like, I have to keep a job. I have to keep a job. They're never going to say no. They're never going to say no.
And that, again, back in that hamster wheel. Now you're running and running and running, man.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate.
It's crazy, man. Because what if that work ethic is built on circumstances or situations that have happened in your life that were completely broken, that were ridiculous, or that, you know, were off. So now the work ethic that you've developed was built out of a bad situation. right? And so you did that to mitigate how you had to respond to this, but it's built on kind of a faulty foundation at that point. But you approach everything else with that same level of intensity, you know, out of this learning. And it's just something I think we have to begin to practice and unlearn. And I say we because I'm clearly in the bunch. But you know, I think it's important that we somehow in there begin to develop a no. Even if it's not, so yeah, maybe you can't do it at your job, but maybe not do it in every other situation of your life either.
Yeah. No is hard. No is very hard. It is
hard for the person who wants to please. Cause it's not hard for everybody.
It's not, but but it's also influence, right? I'm trying to think as you're talking, I'm trying to think of all these scenarios that would happen, and I can't. There's just so many variables. Like like no is very hard for someone that wants to please somebody for sure. You know, no again is easier. Like I said, if you're already at the top,
right.
No is very easy, right? No, I'm not gonna do that. You know, whatever situation you're in, it's a lot easier to do that. You know, at the same time though, no, depending on where you're at, no is hard, and it's not necessarily financial freedom. It's where you are emotionally, where you are, you know, whatever. There's just so many variables that can make that no such a difficult thing, and it's, I don't know, because sometimes you could say no, but then if you say no is no, then you could also be depriving people. You're depriving people of a learning experience. You can deprive people, right? If your kid wants to go do something, no, because I know how that's going to go. You could deprive them from a learning experience, right? Because sometimes they have to learn that it's going to fail, you know. So have that experience or whatever. But I don't know. I think no is. It's just such a difficult. Like people will say, it's always easy. Just say no. Just say yes. Just say whatever. But it's more nuanced than that. But then you also have the people that just don't give a fuck, but they're also never going anywhere.
Yeah,
because they're just like, no, I'm not gonna do it. I refuse to. Okay, well, you're also not gonna get to where you want to go because you're always just saying no. You know,
you're gonna miss out on so many other opportunities.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and for them, it's easy to say no. You know, so I don't think that. I don't know, and I also don't think when I think about, you know, these. If you go back in the past, the things that happen, the deep-rooted issues, the whatever, like there's a lot of nuance in there too, you know, and I think about, you know, the way that everything is situated and set up currently mimics a lot of past ways, past things, and there was a lot of conflict that made it a lot easier on some versus others, that allowed those yeses and nos to be a lot easier, you know, and how does that affect? And you know, like I think about slavery, for example, right? If I have 500 slaves and I have 100 slaves,
I feel like a word problem is coming.
Right. And they can pick 2 pounds of cotton a minute. No.
I heard the word problem
showing up. No, but right, like I think about even like that. I think about, okay, I'm not gonna say what. Shepard is a slave owner.
Okay.
And Aaron is a slave owner.
Okay.
Shepard has 100 slaves. Aaron has 500 slaves.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know. Jim Beam, whatever, I don't know, I'm going to alcohol, comes over and says, hey, I need to have 2 tons of cotton picked by 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
Right? Neither one of us are lifting a fucking finger.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
But it's a lot easier for you to be like, oh, yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
You got 500 people.
Right.
I only got 100.
Right.
Right. So even in that sense and logic, right? I have to say no, but I have an easy job. You know, even though that's going to kill them, I have to say no.
You don't.
I don't have to.
Okay.
I don't have to.
In that instance, because some people do say yes, even
some
in
people
there.
will say yes and work the dog shit out of it.
Right.
But those are those things, like, even in that scenario like that, like, if we're sitting on the rocking chair porch drinking lemonade, talking about filling orders,
Yeah.
right? Like, it's gonna be easier for you to be like, I got that. Like, you're not gonna say no,
right?
You know, and there's no risk one way or the other, but you're making a better financial decision or business decision or whatever, and that's goes down to your freedom too, right? It's not just the money, it's the manpower. But how did that transaction shape today for the person sitting on the porch and the person in the field? It's trickles all the way down to now.
Yeah.
Right? There's a lineage there.
Right.
And so that yes and that no changes the world of this person, this person, this person, this person, this person, you know, as it goes.
I mean, had I said no to some things, I wouldn't be where I am today, right? So I mean, I get the importance of being able to balance between the yes and no. Had I probably said no, though, to the position, when I thinking through it right now, which is why I'm pacing it.
Yep.
I was asked to take on another position during the transition at the box, right? Take on another position. I knew I didn't want the position, but I felt like I needed to because of my responsibilities, right?
Yeah.
I had already had my real estate license and was practicing. This was one of the first to happen, right?
Yeah.
And I was practicing and knew that I wanted to make a move, but I was willing to have my yes put me in a position that I should have said no in.
Right.
But my fear and my doubt and my thoughts that I wouldn't be able to support all clouded that. And so what it ended up doing was setting me up to have to be almost embarrassed to a certain extent in order to, like, the door had to be completely shut, you know, in order for me to have to move on and do what I should have said yes to. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, I mean, that's that's normal though. That's normal though. Oh, I'm saying that's normal like I'm a normal fucking person. so never mind. Don't listen to me. Nobody listen to me. But I do feel that that's normal because I feel that the mass majority of us are, I don't want to say seeking comfort, but they stick with what they know.
Yeah. Right.
And, you know, we don't pivot unless you're forced to pivot.
Who intentionally puts themselves in?
Yeah, no one wants to. No one wants to be uncomfortable. No one wants to be in a shitty position. No one wants to roll the dice when they have it good. You know, I have it good right here. Why would I risk that? That's stupid, right? It's just dreams. You know, it's just pipe dreams, right? And that's a hard thing. You know, when you think about it, you know, you say, okay, well, you said it. You wouldn't be here now, right? If you didn't say yes or no, depending on, but that's the thing is yes and or no. You wouldn't be here now if you didn't say yes to something. You wouldn't be here now if you didn't say no to something. Your yeses and your nos put you to where you're at, but then your current situation, not anybody's current situation, also is good or bad depending upon where they're at in that time, right? So there's always like a bouncing of time. So you can sit at this table today and say, I'm here because of all the decisions that I made, but right now you're not in a good place. You can sit at this table tomorrow and say, all my decisions that I made put me here now, and you're in a great place,
Great place. Yeah.
right? But it's always
And you're right. It is in time, because that one decision, the one decision, whatever the decision was, right? My yes turned into a movement that forced me out, right? Take that out of the equation now. From then to now, there's been some great moments and there's been some not so great moments, right? But they have all been part of this process that just have time has revealed, right? Different parts of it. And there was no way of me knowing either way. And had I stayed, I still think I would be here. At some place or some point, maybe later, I still think the shift would have happened that would have forced me to this place at this time, because I don't believe we miss it.
I don't see that. That's what I want to know. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know. That's such a hard thing to figure out. Like there's going to be, so do you really even have, we look at it as decisions, right? We look at it as,
do we really have a decision?
Choose, right? And that's the question is, do we have a decision? Do you have a decision to make, whether you're going to like, comment, subscribe to the channel, right? And help grow the show,
right?
So we can reach more people, or do you do nothing and be selfish and listen to it for yourself and keep going? Just gonna slide that plug in there. Decisions, I don't think that we necessarily do. I think that there's force factors that help correct when we get off of course, and a yes or a no from us is just keeping us on the road, if you will, because there's always going to be something like that change, that monumental shift. There's always a driving factor behind it. Yeah. There's never just I think this is what I'm going to do today. No, it's always like, this is my circumstance. It sucks. I'm going to do this. I just lost this. It sucks. Now I'm going to do this. Or, there's, if I think back even like in my life, there's always been, and I talk to people that haven't had that monumental push, that monumental change, generally they're just like, I'm fine living just how I like. There's no there's no drive or will to be better. It's always well, don't worry about there's been no catalyst. Yeah, there's nothing. They're just fine doing what they're doing, waking up every, I don't need that. I'm perfectly fine right here. Yeah. And that just shows that they haven't had that monumental shift. And I think about my life and all of the shifts that I've had, and it's interesting because there's nothing that keeps the old things together. And what I mean by that, I think about I've lived in multiple states, right? For whatever reason, my cause to move from state to state was always forced by something. And in every state, I've had a job. In every state, or two or three, in every state, I've had people that I talked to or whatever. I couldn't tell you some of these people's names anymore. Yeah. I couldn't tell you. Yeah. We lost touch. They never reached out. I never reached out because the push changed, right? And some things stay with you. A lot gets left behind. And, if I think back, what happens if I would have done this? Yeah. Well, I couldn't have because of the shift. Yeah. Even if I wanted to, I couldn't have. Right. So do we really have a choice? Do we really have a choice, or are we just following these changes or these I mean, at the end of the day, you can still say yes, it's your choice, but is it? I don't know.
I believe there's a compass that even the wrong yes or no still brings you back to the path, whatever that path was going to be. I believe you can go over here and you can go visit.
Yeah,
but then eventually you got to come back home. And I believe it's the coming back home is that thing that there's a drive and a passion, I believe, inside of all of us, whether it's a roaring fire or a dwindling fire. I believe that there's something in the inside of us that brings us back to due north. And we may die trying to get back to it, but I believe that there's something that tries to correct us and bring us back to that point.
Until you find out your compass is broke.
Then, I mean,
the wrong way.
Then you've been going south
the whole fucking time. God damn it. You know, I guess I don't know, man. That's
it's one to consider. I mean, for me, I personally link it into a spiritual journey, right? And so I do believe spiritually that we have a predestination. So
I like it.
Yep.
Well, we'll leave it there for the spiritual people.
Okay.
What's going on, guys? Hope you like the show. Appreciate y'all listening, but we need something from you.
Yeah, man, we need you to like, comment, and subscribe. We want to know what you like about the show so that we can continue to create relevant content for you.
Appreciate it.